Relationship advice. My 27 male ex-fiancee, 26 female, cheated on me with my cousin, 25 male. Now my family want me to forgive him because he's sick with cancer. I, 27 male, don't have any siblings. But I have a cousin, Kevin, who's 2 years younger than me, and we literally grew up together. I spent a lot of time with my dad's side of the family. Mom is deceased, dad never remarried as he has health issues, and I was there with Kevin most of the time. We did everything together. Fought/played/cried/laughed together. I've always been very close to my grandparents as well, so I was very comfortable being there. When I was engaged to my ex-fiancée, I used to bring her over to my grandparents' house most of the time. Her, me, and Kevin would spend our time doing things together. I noticed Kevin would try to take part even in personal conversations, and try to tag along whenever we went out for dinner. I set some boundaries, but he just kept stomping over them. He changed. He'd try to pick fights with me, and claims I'm forgetting about him and prioritizing my ex over him. I didn't know how to deal with this, so I kept my distance. In about 2 months, I found from my aunt about Kevin constantly meeting up with my ex, and she told me she was worried something was going on between Kevin and my ex-fiancée. And she was right. Turned out, my ex and Kevin got together, and I was being kept in the dark while I was planning our wedding and handing out invitations. I felt like an absolute idiot. I couldn't handle my anger. I stopped everything and cut contact with Kevin and the family, except Dad because he needed me. It's been over a year now. I heard that Kevin was in and out of the hospital, but I didn't know why. Until my aunt reached out to me telling me that Kevin has liver cancer and wasn't handling it well. I drove my dad to visit him once and saw my ex, who's now his girlfriend, there, and I left right away. I kept my distance, and recently, I started getting calls from family members asking, "Did you hear about Kevin?" and telling me the same story. My grandmother called me, wanting to arrange for a family dinner on Christmas, and because Kevin got out of the hospital, wanting me to come, hoping I solved my issues with him, seeing that I may not be able to do it later. But I refused. She told me I needed to have some empathy and let go of the past, because what happened to him was enough for me to let it go. They started pressuring me from all sides. I told my grandparent that I won't sit with my ex-fiancé and the person who wronged me at the same table, and pretend to be happy family. They replied that I was resentful. That he's my cousin no matter what happens. It's the same people who allowed my ex into their house after what she did and sided with Kevin, and said they only allowed my ex into the house for Kevin's sake. Now they demand I get right with him, because he clearly deserved more sympathy than I do. I'm deeply hurt and I can't imagine sitting at the same table with the people who hurt me the most. What should I do at this point? I think everyone is being unfair and refusing or just ignoring what Kevin did to me. Now for the top advice. I'm sorry, but if you shoot yourself in the foot, doesn't matter if you get cancer, you still have a shot foot. Your cousin chose to screw your fiancé, and the repercussion of that is, he doesn't have a relationship with you, cancer or not. I feel like if you are able to justify it to yourself and be able to live with your own choices, like you not being around your skank cousin and ex-fiancé, then stand your ground. I'd do the same thing. And frankly, I'd go low contact with the rest of the family that thinks it's cool to minimize my own trauma because he's family. Oh? He's family? Family doesn't screw your fiancé. When OP's family tells him he's resentful, just say, "Heck yeah, I'm resentful," because why shouldn't he be after all that's happened? I'm not for this whole, "they are dying, please forgive them" stuff. Forgiveness comes from remorse, reconciliation and working together to get to that point. It doesn't come from, "Oh, I'm dying, you have to forgive me now." So no, there can be no forgiveness for him destroying your life. He'll be gone soon and then your problem will be over. Exactly. Dying doesn't erase all the horrible things someone has done, it just ensures they won't hurt anyone else in the future. Stand your ground. Your hurt is real and valid, and you're allowed to feel it and set boundaries around it. His cancer wasn't some karma for betraying and hurting you. It has nothing to do with his, or your ex's despicable behavior and treatment towards you. It is not an apology to you, and of course does not change your feelings about what happened. You are absolutely not obligated to forgive him just because he has an illness. Your family is absolutely being unfair and dismissing your own feelings. The fact that they all clearly chose Kevin over OP before the cancer, would be enough for me to be done with all of them. None of them is taking OP's side when his cousin betrays him and destroys his engagement, shows where their priorities lie. Now for the top comments. pregnant and my husband cheated with our sister-in-law. I can't even believe I'm writing this. If you'd have asked me if I thought this would ever be me, I bet my life on it that I'd never be going through this. My husband and I have been together 10 years, married for 3. I had 100% trust in him, and I was more than confident he'd never be one of those guys who'd cheat. My sister-in-law, if you want to call her that, her and brother-in-law are engaged, and have been on and off for the 6 years they've been together. And my husband began being close after he started working with her delivering. My mother-in-law also worked there. They'd all often go out bowling, or out to eat after work with other co-workers. I also had a close relationship with her. I loved her like a sister. Some other family and friends could never stand her, but I really try to see the good in everyone, and try to not have problems with anyone. The closeness of my husband and sister-in-law's relationship started bothering me in August. I was assured it was nothing inappropriate. I'm not proud of this, but I turned his location on his Snapchat at this point. I just had that gut feeling. I started monitoring it, but he'd always be exactly where he was supposed to be, so I dropped it. In early September, my husband got a new job and I felt much better. Late September, sister-in-law and brother-in-law broke up yet again. But my husband kept hanging out with her with my mother-in-law and other co-workers from his old job. It bothered me, but I tried not to be the psycho-crazy controlling wife. Also, in early September, we found out we were pregnant with our second child. We already have a 5-year-old together. He never wanted a second, but it happened. I was terrified to tell him. I started crying, saying he was going to hate me and want to leave. To my surprise, he hugged me and acted happy. Last week of October, he turned off his Snapchat location and I started panicking. I should have brought it up, but I didn't. If I did, none of this might have happened. But I know I can't blame myself. November 2nd, I got a text from him saying he was going bowling after work with the old co-workers, and that he felt we needed a break because he wasn't happy. I was taken completely by surprise. I didn't know where this was coming from. When he got home, we talked for 5 hours and he admitted shortly after finding out I was pregnant he began panicking. He really did not want a second child. He also said he feels like his friends don't like him, that he's tired of this pandemic, he feels inadequate at work, and feels like he isn't knowledgeable enough, that he fears he'll never be successful enough, etc. He said he has been feeling depressed and self-harming for the past couple months, and that he had been confiding in sister-in-law about everything. I asked if anything was going on, and he said no. I said, I swear to God, if anything happens with her, you will regret it and hate yourself. It might feel good and exciting and new in the moment, but you will regret it for the rest of your life. Not to mention your whole family would hate you too. He said he knows. By the end of the night, he told me he felt much better, that he remembered why he fell in love with me, and that he had no idea why he waited so long to talk to me about his feelings. The next month was great. He didn't ever go out with 2 ex-co-workers anymore, he was being gentler with my feelings, things were good. Out of nowhere Tuesday morning, I get a call from him shortly after he gets to work. I need to tell you something. I cheated. I'm coming home now. I hung up, he kept calling back, I started having a panic attack. I asked with who, he said, I think you know. I've asked every detail I could think of. It wasn't an emotional thing, he didn't have feelings. He doesn't know why he did it. He was in a dark place. She started flirting through Snapchat the last couple days of October, he reciprocated. Things got physical, she started sending him nudes. He went to a Halloween party, I worked overnight and our son stayed with my parents. She called him and said to leave the party and come over, that she was home alone. He drove there and they did it. He wore a protection, there was no foreplay and lights were completely off. He tried to leave before anything started multiple times, but she kept saying no, stay. He said he hated himself before, during, and after, so, I don't understand why he went through it. When he told me he wanted a break on November 2nd, 2 days after it happened, was because of the guilt. But he still was too scared to come clean. They both stopped talking after that. All this week, I've been getting 4 hours of sleep every night, I've lost 8 pounds, I randomly have panic attacks throughout the day. Of course, my husband is saying all the right things. That he doesn't know why it took so long to realize what he has. That he wants to be a good dad and husband. He's excited for our baby. That he took what he had for granted for so long. He hates himself, he'll never forgive himself. That I did absolutely nothing wrong and I've never been short of amazing. That he hates her. He feels like she took advantage of him when she knew he was weak and vulnerable. That he knows he doesn't deserve me, that he had the perfect wife in life and threw it away for nothing. I was betrayed by who I truly believed deep down in my core was my soulmate/love of my life. I was betrayed by sister-in-law who I thought was one of my closest friends. I also now feel betrayed by mother-in-law because she is still best friends with sister-in-law. She went out to get nails done with her the day after me and her found out everything. Never even asked me how I was. It's embarrassing, but I can't stop sleeping with him. I always imagined if this would happen to me, I'd be burning his clothes and hammering his PS4. I used to think the women who stayed were crazy. I want to stay, but I don't think I can. I keep playing the movies in my head and I don't think they'll ever leave. I don't believe it would ever happen again, but I also believed it could never ever happen the first time either. I feel embarrassed. Stupid. Gullible. Now for the top comments. Take your child and yourself to your parents' house and tell them. They'll probably say a few things that might be hurtful, but regardless of that, they are your parents. You need to sleep, eat and have someone else make sure you're doing both of those things and that your 5-year-old is safe and happy. It can be a pre-Christmas mini-stay if your little one asks why. Whatever you think and feel is perfectly normal, but I would distance yourself from him and his family for a while, so that you can concentrate on yourself. Hugs to you. Tell the brother-in-law. She told him already. You believe her? Talk to him anyway. He might have insight into the situation from another angle. I have talked to him. He's back together with her. Classy family you married into. I'm not excited for this baby anymore. I don't know how I'll take care of a newborn when I can't even take care of myself. I'm severely depressed, and I don't think it'll ever go away. Adoption is an option as well. If you're not well, you are in no shape to take care of another. Postpartum depression can get very bad very quick. Your older one needs you here. I'm adopted and I still see my parents. Now for the last story. My 40 female, ex-husband, 40 male, and best friend, 42 female, of over 20 years, have come out with news of their relationship not a year since our divorce. Not too sure how to cope with the news. This is a friend that I've known over half my life, the same one that was maid of honor of our wedding and helped me through the separation and subsequent divorce. To now learn that she is seeing my ex, and has been since the start of COVID, is bewildering at best. Maybe in our 20s this wouldn't have been a huge deal, but given the timing and the fact that he is the father of my child, 8 mil, I really don't know what she was thinking when she decided this would fly. They started seeing each other within 2 or 3 months of the divorce. The number of times that she had asked how I was doing and encouraged me to start dating again. I can't help but wonder if she had ulterior motives every step of the way. As for my ex, I don't even know what he was thinking. If we want a good friendship and co-parenting relationship moving forward, shouldn't we do our best to avoid situations like this? It's not like there's a shortage of women to choose from in Vancouver. I want to be cool with it. I want to be unbothered. I just don't know how. My friend wants to speak to me over a safe and socially distant lunch next week. Should I bother? She made her choice, knowing it would change our friendship irreversibly. What should I do? Am I overreacting? What should I say to her? Now for the top advice. I can tell you right now what the thrust of that lunch will be about, if you decide to go, which you shouldn't. She's going to want you to ease the ache she's feeling about potentially doing a tremendously trashy and unforgivable thing. If you sign off on it, she won't feel guilty. She's going to pitch this as clearing the air or getting it all out in the open, but it'll be about her and what she's feeling. And if you hold your ground and say, yes, sure, you're an adult and everything, but this is still incredibly hurtful and unnecessary, and I don't want you screwing my ex, then you're going to get painted as the crazy and unreasonable one. The story is going to come out that you can't move on, that you were mean and rude, and that no one understands why you changed so much. Barf. The reality is that she and your ex are the selfish ones making a selfish choice. Which, let's be fair, is within the rights of adults everywhere. If you want something badly enough, maybe you are willing to be the bad guy and do the selfish thing, and that's a thing you can do. You have to pay for it though, and you ought to own it. Most people won't, but you ought to be able to say, this makes me the bad guy and I did it anyway, sorry/not sorry, and live with the consequences. I'd turn down the lunch, because honestly, what could she possibly have to say that you're interested in? Keep logistically co-parenting with your ex and ignore her. Gray rock them both with any emotional details about how you are, how you're feeling, what your life looks like. They don't get to know. You are willing to discuss who is scheduling the dentist appointments and when you are doing pickup and who is handling soccer practice snacks. That's it. Lastly, now might be an awesome time to get a therapist. Pay someone to be an impartial, supportive recipient of everything. You're not going to shout at your friend, or your ex. Since you can't say it to the human garbage that used to be two people you trust, you are going to have to find someone you can say it to, and a pro is probably best. That way, you don't end up exploding all over when the next personal horror comes rolling along, as that seems to be the order of the day. Don't meet with your friend. She is not a friend. You can be civil if you have to cross paths. Definitely agree not to bother with the conversation. It's not for OP's benefit, the friend just wants to assuage her own guilt. She wants your blessing, but the damage is done. What she's looking is the okay or the no and how dare you reaction, to paint you as the evil ex-wife who doesn't want them to be happy. Keep it civil with ex for the kids, but keep that best friend out of your life. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.